From her unforgettable turn as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland seemed to have everything the world could offer. Yet behind the curtain, her life unfolded as a slow, heartbreaking tragedy shaped by forces far beyond her control. Born Frances Ethel Gum on June 10, 1922 in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, Judy entered the world as the daughter of two vaudeville performers and one of three sisters destined for the stage. She made her first theatrical appearance at just 2.5 years old, and in many ways, that moment marked the end of her childhood before it ever had a chance to begin. Home was never a place of safety or stability. Rumors swirled in their small Minnesota town about her father, Frank Gum, and alleged affairs with young men, igniting scandal and pressure that eventually forced the family to flee. In 1926, the Gums packed up and moved to California, hoping for a fresh start. Instead, that move became the beginning of something far darker for young Judy. What should have been an opportunity turned into an environment that demanded everything from her, pushing her into a life of relentless performance and control, with consequences few could imagine at the time. Much of Judy's fate was shaped by her mother, Ethel, who was determined to mold her daughters into stars at any cost. Ethel placed an impossible burden on Judy, subjecting her to a shocking regimen while she was still a child. By the age of 10, Judy was put on a strict routine of pills, amphetamines to keep her energized and alert during the day, and sleeping pills at night to force rest after performances. This cycle was meant to maximize her productivity, but it quietly laid the foundation for lifelong struggles. Around this time, Frances shed her given name. In 1934, after the sisters rebranded themselves as the Garland Sisters, she chose the name Judy, inspired by a popular Hoagie Carmichael song, an identity that would soon become famous worldwide, even as the real girl behind it slowly disappeared. The mistreatment Judy endured didn't come solely from powerful executives. According to the biography written by her third husband, even the actors who played the Munchkins on The Wizard of Oz illegally harassed her, grabbing her and putting their hands under her dress, turning what should have been a magical set into another source of fear and humiliation. When The Wizard of Oz premiered in 1939, it transformed Judy into one of Hollywood's brightest stars almost overnight. At just 17 years old, she was celebrated, adored, and awarded an Academy Award for her performance. But the success only tightened the grip around her life, demanding more while offering her less. In 1941, at 19, Judy married 30-year-old composer David Rose, defying both her mother and MGM in what many believe was a desperate attempt to escape the suffocating control that defined her existence. That marriage, however, offered no real freedom. She was forced to terminate a pregnancy under pressure from her mother, her husband, and the studio itself, a devastating experience that quickly fractured the relationship beyond repair. Around this time, another painful truth resurfaced decades later. Before her rise to stardom, Judy had appeared in blackface in the 1938 film Everybody Sing, portraying a character who auditions as a blackface performer. The image of a 16-year-old Judy painted with darkened skin, exaggerated white lips, and dreadlocks stands as a stark reminder of the era's racism and of how little power she had to refuse anything demanded of her. By 1945, Judy married director Vincente Minnelli, and together they had a daughter, Liza, who would later follow her mother into the spotlight. But even this chapter brought little peace. In 1947, Judy walked in on Minnelli in bed with a man who had been working closely with both of them. The discovery shattered what stability she had left. Already fragile from years of exploitation, exhaustion, and addiction, Judy spiraled further, and this moment marked the first time she tried to end her life. Behind the glowing image of Hollywood's sweetheart was a young woman being slowly crushed by betrayal, control, and a system that had never allowed her to simply be safe. After that point, the attempts to end her life became tragically frequent. When MGM suspended her contract in 1950, Judy spiraled once again, another casualty of a system that had built her up only to abandon her when she broke. Just a year earlier, she had been fired from Annie Get Your Gun, with the studio citing tardiness, instability, weight issues, and substance abuse, cruelly punishing her for the very addictions they had helped create. In 1952, she married producer Sid Luft, a relationship that would become her longest at 13 years. Together, they had 2 children, Lorna and Joey, but longevity did not mean safety. The marriage was volatile, and during their divorce in 1965, Judy accused Luft of physical abuse. Accounts from that period paint a devastating picture of how constant her suffering had become, with reports later claiming that she made numerous attempts on her own life throughout their years together. Even as her condition worsened, Judy continued searching for stability in places that could not provide it. Her 4th marriage to actor Mark Herron lasted only 5 months, leaving her penniless and alone. She was forced to sell her Los Angeles mansion and drift between rented apartments and hotels, a heartbreaking contrast to the glamorous image the world still associated with her name. By the early 1960s, her struggles were no longer hidden. While filming I Could Go On Singing in 1963, her behavior on set reflected just how deeply she was unraveling. Yet, the industry around her treated it with a disturbing level of normalcy. Dark jokes replaced concern, and her pain became background noise rather than an emergency. Alongside the emotional devastation, her finances continued to collapse, stripping away the last illusion that fame had ever protected her. Judy Garland's life pressed on, not as a fairy tale, but as a relentless descent shaped by exploitation, neglect, and a system that never stopped taking from her, even when there was nothing left to give. By the late 1960s, Judy Garland's life had descended into near ruin. Years of poor financial management, coupled with suspected theft, had wiped out whatever fortune she had earned, leaving her reportedly owing the IRS hundreds of thousands in back taxes. In her 40s, she was virtually destitute, scraping by on $100 a night singing in gay bars. A harsh irony considering that amount had once been her weekly pay as a 13-year-old under MGM's grip. Judy was painfully aware that her life had become one defined by sorrow, far from the fairy tale image the world still cherished. Her 5th and final marriage came in 1968 to nightclub manager Mickey Deans, 12 years her junior. They had met in New York in 1966 when Mickey delivered illegal substances to her hotel, and married 3 years later in London. Reports from the time suggest that during her London performances, Mickey pressured her to take the stage, even when she was too unwell to perform. On June 22, 1969, tragedy struck when Mickey broke down the locked bathroom door of their London flat and found Judy dead at just 47 years old. The coroner later ruled her passing an accidental overdose, self-administered. Her New York funeral coincided with the Stonewall riots, a watershed moment in the fight for gay rights, with some suggesting that the grief surrounding her death may have intensified the emotions that night. What makes Judy Garland's story especially heartbreaking is that she never wanted to be remembered as a tragic figure. Yet her life, stolen childhood, ruined health, lost happiness, has been framed in exactly that light. From a young star with no control over her choices to a woman who paid the ultimate price for the demands and cruelties imposed upon her, Judy's story is a sobering reminder of the cost of fame at any age.